Once upon a time, in a humble cottage nestled at the edge of a dense forest, lived a poor woodcutter and his devoted wife. They were not rich in material wealth, but their hearts overflowed with love and kindness, making their modest home a haven of warmth and happiness. The woodcutter, a sturdy man with calloused hands and a gentle soul, spent his days toiling in the forest, chopping wood to provide for his beloved wife and their meager needs. Despite the hardships they faced, he never once complained, for he knew that his labor was a labor of love, a testament to his unwavering devotion to his dear wife. His wife, a woman of grace and resilience, tended to their humble home with care and diligence, her hands deftly weaving warmth into every corner. She cooked simple yet hearty meals over the crackling fire, filling their home with the comforting aroma of home-cooked food. And though they had little, she made sure that their table was always set with love and laughter, turning even the most meager of meals into a feast fit for royalty. Together, they faced life's challenges with unwavering courage and determination, their love for each other serving as a beacon of hope in the darkest of times. And though they may have been poor in the eyes of the world, they were rich beyond measure in the wealth of their love for one another. But as fate would have it, their simple life was soon to be touched by the hand of destiny, setting into motion a series of events that would change their lives forever. One fateful day, as the woodcutter ventured deep into the heart of the forest in search of firewood, he stumbled upon a hidden glade bathed in golden sunlight. There, nestled among the trees, he discovered a treasure trove of riches beyond his wildest dreams, a chest filled to the brim with glittering gold coins and precious jewels. At first, the woodcutter could scarcely believe his luck, his heart pounding with excitement at the sight of such untold wealth. But then, a pang of guilt washed over him, his conscience pricked by the thought of taking what did not rightfully belong to him. And so, with a heavy heart, he made the decision to leave the treasure untouched, knowing that true wealth could not be found in gold or jewels, but in the love and companionship of his dear wife. But little did the woodcutter know, his act of selflessness had caught the eye of a kind-hearted fairy who had been watching over him from the shadows. Impressed by his noble heart and unwavering integrity, she decided to bestow upon him a gift, a magical axe that would grant him the strength to provide for his wife and their future generations to come. And so, armed with his newfound gift, the woodcutter returned home to his beloved wife, his heart brimming with joy and gratitude. And as he told her of his encounter in the forest, her eyes sparkled with wonder and awe, her heart overflowing with love for her steadfast husband. Together, they marveled at the miraculous axe, its blade shimmering in the firelight as if infused with the very essence of magic itself. And as they embraced each other in a tender embrace, they knew that no amount of wealth could ever compare to the riches they had found in each other's arms. And so, with renewed hope and determination, the woodcutter and his wife set out to carve a new path for themselves, guided by the light of love and the promise of a brighter tomorrow. And though they may have been poor in the eyes of the world, they were rich beyond measure in the wealth of their love for one another, their hearts forever entwined in a bond that could never be broken. Once upon a time, in a quaint village nestled amidst rolling hills and lush greenery, there lived a mischievous boy named Pinko. Pinko was known far and wide for his playful antics and boundless energy, his laughter echoing through the streets like music to the ears of all who heard it. But despite his youthful exuberance, Pinko had a penchant for getting into trouble, a fact that would soon become abundantly clear to a certain woodcutter and his devoted wife. The woodcutter, a hard-working man with a heart of gold, spent his days toiling in the forest, chopping wood to provide for his beloved wife and their meager needs. And though they may have been poor in the eyes of the world, they were rich beyond measure in the love they shared for one another. But little did the woodcutter know, his simple life was soon to be turned upside down by the mischievous antics of a certain young boy named Pinko. It all began one sunny afternoon, as the woodcutter set out for the forest with his axe in hand, his heart light with the promise of a day's work ahead. But as he ventured deeper into the heart of the woods, he couldn't shake the feeling that something was amiss, a feeling that would soon be confirmed in the most unexpected of ways. For as he approached his usual clearing, he noticed a rustling in the bushes nearby, followed by the unmistakable sound of chewing. Curiosity piqued. The woodcutter crept closer, his eyes widening in disbelief at the sight that greeted him. There, sitting amidst a pile of discarded food wrappers, was Pinko, the mischievous boy from the village, greedily devouring the woodcutter's carefully prepared lunch. At first, the woodcutter could scarcely believe his eyes, his heart pounding with a mixture of anger and disbelief. How could this young boy have the audacity to steal from him? He wondered, his mind reeling with indignation. But as he looked closer, he saw something else, something that tugged at his heartstrings and filled him with a strange sense of compassion. For beneath Pinko's rough exterior, he could see a child in need, a child who, despite his mischievous ways, was simply trying to survive in a world that was often unkind and unforgiving. And so, with a heavy heart, the woodcutter made a decision that would change the course of both their lives forever. Instead of scolding Pinko or driving him away, he approached the young boy with a kind smile and a gentle hand, offering him the remainder of his lunch with no trace of anger or resentment. To his surprise, Pinko's eyes lit up with gratitude, his heart overflowing with a mixture of relief and joy. For in that moment, he realized that he had found more than just a meal. He had found a friend, a confidant, and a kindred spirit who saw past his flaws and embraced him for who he truly was. And as they sat together in the dappled shade of the forest, sharing stories and laughter beneath the canopy of trees, the woodcutter knew that he had made the right choice, for in showing kindness to Pinko, he had not only gained a friend, but a son as well. And so, as the sun began to set on another day in the village, the woodcutter and Pinko walked hand in hand back to the woodcutter's humble cottage, their hearts light with the promise of a newfound friendship that would withstand the test of time. In a quaint village nestled amidst rolling hills and lush greenery, there lived a mischievous boy named Pinko. Pinko's antics were the talk of the town, his laughter echoing through the streets like music to the ears of all who heard it. But despite his playful nature, Pinko's life was about to take a serious turn. It all began one fateful day when Pinko's father, a stern and hard-working man, discovered that his son had been caught stealing from the woodcutter's lunch. Anger flared in his eyes as he confronted Pinko, his voice stern and unwavering. "Pinko, you have brought shame upon our family with your foolish actions," he scolded, his words echoing through the quiet village. "As punishment for your misdeeds, you shall serve the woodcutter for 3 long years." Pinko's heart sank at his father's words, his mind reeling with disbelief. 3 years seemed like an eternity to the young boy, and the thought of serving another in such a manner filled him with dread. But his father's decision was final, and Pinko knew that he had no choice but to accept his fate. With a heavy heart, he bid farewell to his family and set out to serve the woodcutter as best he could. As Pinko arrived at the woodcutter's humble cottage, he was greeted by the stern gaze of the woodcutter himself. The man's eyes bore into Pinko's soul, his expression unreadable as he sized up the young boy before him. "You have been sent here to serve me, and serve me you shall," the woodcutter declared, his voice firm and commanding. "You will work from dawn till dusk, tending to my needs and carrying out whatever tasks I set before you." And so, Pinko began his new life as a servant to the woodcutter, his days filled with hard labor and endless chores. From chopping wood to tending to the garden, Pinko worked tirelessly from sunup to sundown, his hands blistered and sore from the grueling tasks he was assigned. But despite the hardships he faced, Pinko refused to give up hope. Deep down, he knew that there was a lesson to be learned in his punishment, a lesson about responsibility, humility, and the value of hard work. And as the days turned into weeks, and the weeks turned into months, Pinko began to see a change within himself. He no longer shirked his duties or complained about his lot in life. Instead, he embraced his role as a servant with a newfound sense of purpose and determination. And through it all, the woodcutter watched silently from the sidelines, his eyes softening with each passing day. He had expected Pinko to rebel or resist his authority, but instead, the young boy had surprised him with his resilience and dedication. As the 3 years came to an end, Pinko stood before the woodcutter a changed boy, no longer the mischievous troublemaker he once was, but a responsible and hardworking young man. I am grateful for the lessons you have taught me, sir, Pinko said, his voice filled with sincerity. I may have come here as a servant, but I leave as a better man because of you. And with those words, Pinko bid farewell to the woodcutter and set out into the world, his heart full of gratitude for the experiences that had shaped him into the person he had become. As he walked away from the woodcutter's cottage, Pinko knew that he would never forget the lessons he had learned during his time of service. And though his path in life may have been difficult at times, he was grateful for the journey that had led him to where he stood today, a wiser, stronger, and more compassionate individual than he had ever been before. In a village surrounded by whispering woods and rolling hills, there lived a humble woodcutter and his family. The woodcutter, known for his gentle nature and tireless work ethic, spent his days chopping wood to provide for his beloved wife and their modest home. But little did he know, his life was about to change in the most unexpected of ways, all thanks to a mischievous young boy named Pinko. Pinko was the talk of the town, his playful antics and infectious laughter bringing joy to all who knew him. But beneath his playful exterior lay a secret that would soon reveal itself in the most astonishing of ways. It all began one crisp autumn morning, as the woodcutter set out for the forest with his trusty axe in hand. As he ventured deeper into the woods, he couldn't shake the feeling that something was amiss. Little did he know, his intuition was about to be put to the test. For as he approached his usual clearing, he heard a rustling in the bushes nearby. Curiosity piqued, the woodcutter crept closer, his heart pounding with anticipation. And what he saw next took his breath away. There, standing amidst a pile of fallen trees, was Pinko, the mischievous young boy from the village. But what caught the woodcutter's eye wasn't Pinko's presence, but rather the sheer strength and agility with which he wielded his axe. With each swing of the blade, Pinko felled trees with ease, his muscles rippling beneath his shirt as he worked tirelessly to clear the forest floor. And as the woodcutter watched in awe, he realized that there was something special about this young boy, something supernatural. In that moment, Pinko turned to the woodcutter with a mischievous grin, his eyes sparkling with mischief. "Need a hand, sir?" he asked, his voice filled with laughter. The woodcutter could scarcely believe his eyes, his heart pounding with a mixture of disbelief and excitement. Here was a young boy with the strength of 10 men, offering to help him with his work, and the woodcutter knew that he couldn't refuse such an offer. And so, with Pinko's help, the woodcutter set to work clearing the forest with renewed vigor. Trees fell like dominoes before them, their combined strength making light work of even the thickest of trunks. As the sun began to set on another day in the forest, the woodcutter marveled at the sheer power and determination of his young companion. For in Pinko, he had found not just a helper, but a true friend, a friend whose supernatural strength would change his life in ways he could never have imagined. And as they walked home together, their hearts light with the promise of a newfound friendship, the woodcutter knew that he had been blessed with a gift beyond measure. For in Pinko, he had found not just a helper, but a kindred spirit, a companion who would stand by his side through thick and thin, come what may. And as they reached the woodcutter's humble cottage, the woodcutter turned to Pinko with a smile, his eyes shining with gratitude. "Thank you, Pinko," he said, his voice filled with emotion. "Thank you for showing me that true strength lies not in the muscles, but in the heart." And with those words, the woodcutter and Pinko stepped into the warmth of the cottage, their hearts full of joy and gratitude for the bond that had been forged between them. For in each other, they had found not just strength, but a friendship that would last a lifetime. In the heart of a picturesque village, nestled among the whispering trees and babbling brooks, there lived a young boy named Pinko. He was known throughout the village for his mischievous grin and boundless energy, always eager to lend a hand and brighten the day with his infectious laughter. But little did the villagers know, Pinko possessed a gift unlike any other, a gift that would soon astonish them all. It all began one crisp morning, as Pinko set out to help the local farmers with their daily tasks. Armed with nothing but his wits and determination, he approached each challenge with a sense of excitement and purpose, eager to prove himself in the eyes of his neighbors. As the day wore on, Pinko found himself faced with tasks of extraordinary difficulty, from lifting heavy bales of hay to repairing broken fences. There seemed to be no end to the challenges that lay before him. But instead of shying away from the daunting tasks, Pinko embraced them with gusto, his determination never wavering even in the face of adversity. With each task he completed, he felt a sense of pride and accomplishment wash over him, fueling his desire to push himself even further. And as the villagers looked on in awe, they marveled at the sheer strength and determination of the young boy before them. For in Pinko, they saw not just a mischievous child, but a true force of nature, a beacon of hope and inspiration in a world filled with challenges and obstacles. But perhaps the most extraordinary task of all came when Pinko was called upon to rescue a young calf trapped in a raging river. The villagers looked on in horror as the helpless animal struggled against the powerful current, its cries echoing through the valley like a haunting melody. Without a moment's hesitation, Pinko sprang into action, his heart pounding with adrenaline as he waded into the icy waters to save the stranded calf. With each step he took, the river threatened to sweep him away, its icy grip tightening around him like a vice. But Pinko refused to back down, his determination burning brighter than ever as he reached out a trembling hand to grasp the calf's flailing hoof. And with a mighty heave, he pulled the animal to safety, his breath coming in ragged gasps as he collapsed on the riverbank, exhausted but triumphant. As the villagers rushed to his side, their faces filled with admiration and gratitude, Pinko couldn't help but smile. For in that moment, he knew that he had accomplished something truly extraordinary, something that would be remembered for generations to come. And as he looked out at the smiling faces of his neighbors, their cheers ringing in his ears like music to his soul, Pinko felt a sense of pride and fulfillment unlike anything he had ever experienced before. For in that moment, he knew that he had proven himself to be more than just a mischievous child. He had proven himself to be a hero. In a quaint village nestled amidst rolling hills and lush forests, there lived a humble woodcutter and his family. The woodcutter, known for his tireless work ethic and gentle nature, spent his days toiling away in the forest, chopping wood to provide for his beloved wife and their modest home. But despite his best efforts, the woodcutter's earnings were meager, and he often struggled to make ends meet. Little did he know, his fortunes were about to change in the most unexpected of ways, all thanks to a young boy named Pinko. Pinko was a mischievous soul, his laughter ringing through the village like music. He was always eager to lend a hand, and his boundless energy seemed to know no bounds. But beneath his playful exterior lay a secret that would soon reveal itself in the most astonishing of ways. It all began one fateful day, as Pinko stumbled upon the woodcutter toiling away in the forest. With a mischievous twinkle in his eye, Pinko offered to help the woodcutter with his work, his youthful enthusiasm infectious. At first, the woodcutter was hesitant to accept Pinko's offer, unsure of what a young boy could possibly do to aid him in his laborious tasks. But as Pinko began to work alongside him, the woodcutter soon realized that there was more to this young boy than met the eye. For Pinko possessed a strength and agility that belied his tender age, his muscles rippling as he effortlessly lifted fallen trees and cleared away debris. With each swing of his axe, Pinko worked with a determination and focus that left the woodcutter in awe. As the days turned into weeks and the weeks into months, Pinko continued to lend his assistance to the woodcutter, his boundless energy and tireless work ethic never wavering. And with each passing day, the woodcutter's fortunes began to change. No longer did he struggle to make ends meet, for Pinko's efforts had transformed his humble woodcutting business into a thriving enterprise. With Pinko by his side, the woodcutter was able to fell more trees and produce more lumber than ever before, his earnings growing with each passing day. And as the woodcutter's wealth grew, so too did his gratitude towards Pinko. For in the young boy, he had found not just a helper, but a true friend, a friend whose selfless acts of kindness had changed his life in ways he could never have imagined. As they stood side by side in the forest, their hearts light with the promise of a brighter future, the woodcutter knew that he owed everything to Pinko. For in the young boy, he had found not just a companion, but a guardian angel who had transformed his humble existence into one of abundance and prosperity. And as they returned home together, their hearts full of gratitude and joy. The woodcutter knew that he would forever be indebted to Pinko for his unwavering kindness and generosity. For in the young boy, he had found not just a helper, but a true blessing, a blessing that had changed his life in ways he could never have imagined. In a quaint village nestled among the rolling hills, there lived a young boy named Pinko. With his mischievous grin and boundless energy, Pinko was known far and wide as the village troublemaker. But beneath his playful exterior lay a cunning mind and a heart full of kindness, just waiting for the opportunity to prove itself. One day, as Pinko was wandering through the village square, he overheard a conversation that would change his life forever. A wealthy baron was passing through town, boasting of his vast riches and expensive possessions. His words filled Pinko with a sense of curiosity and intrigue, and he couldn't help but wonder if there was a way to outsmart the pompous nobleman. With a mischievous twinkle in his eye, Pinko set about hatching a plan to trick the baron and earn himself a sack of gold and 12 oxen. He spent days devising his scheme, carefully considering every detail and anticipating every possible outcome. Finally, the day of reckoning arrived. Pinko put his plan into motion, approaching the baron with a confident swagger and a charming smile. He regaled the nobleman with tales of his own wealth and prosperity, spinning a web of lies so convincing that even the most astute observer would have been fooled. As Pinko's tale grew more elaborate, the baron's eyes widened with greed and envy. He could scarcely believe his ears as Pinko described the vast sums of money he had amassed through cunning and guile. And when Pinko mentioned his prized possessions, a sack of gold and 12 oxen, the baron's heart skipped a beat with desire. But little did the baron know, Pinko's tale was nothing more than a clever ruse, a ploy designed to trick the unsuspecting nobleman into parting with his riches. With each word he spoke, Pinko wove a spell of deception so powerful that even he began to believe his own lies. And as the baron's greed clouded his judgment, Pinko seized the opportunity to strike. With a flourish of his hand, he produced a sack of gold and 12 oxen from thin air, presenting them to the astonished nobleman with a triumphant grin. The baron's eyes widened in disbelief as he gazed upon the riches before him. He could scarcely believe his luck to have stumbled upon such a windfall in the blink of an eye. And as he counted the coins and examined the oxen, his heart swelled with pride at the thought of his newfound wealth. But little did the baron know, his joy would be short-lived. For as soon as Pinko had secured his prize, he vanished into the crowd without a trace, leaving the nobleman standing alone in the village square, his pockets empty and his dreams shattered. And as Pinko disappeared into the distance, his laughter echoing through the streets, the baron was left to ponder the folly of his greed. For in his quest for wealth and power, he had been outsmarted by a simple village boy, a boy with nothing but his wits and his cunning to guide him. But despite the baron's misfortune, there was a lesson to be learned from Pinko's deception. For in his cleverness and ingenuity, Pinko had shown that true wealth could not be measured in gold or possessions, but in the bonds of friendship and the joy of a life well lived. And as the villagers watched the baron slink away in defeat, they couldn't help but feel a sense of pride in their mischievous young friend. For in Pinko, they saw not just a troublemaker, but a hero who had outsmarted the most powerful man in the village and emerged victorious against all odds. And as they gathered around Pinko, their laughter ringing through the streets, they knew that their lives would never be the same again. For in the midst of their joy and celebration, they had found something far more precious than gold. They had found the true meaning of friendship and the power of a cunning mind. Once upon a time, in a humble village nestled between rolling hills and lush forests, there lived a young boy named Pinko. With his unruly mop of hair and a twinkle in his eye, Pinko was known throughout the village for his mischievous antics and boundless energy. Pinko's father, a simple woodcutter, had raised him with love and care after the untimely passing of Pinko's mother. Despite their meager circumstances, they had forged a strong bond, relying on each other for strength and support. But as Pinko grew older, he yearned for adventure and excitement beyond the confines of their village. So, when the opportunity arose for Pinko to embark on a journey of his own, he bid farewell to his father and set off into the world with dreams of greatness in his heart. For 3 long years, Pinko roamed far and wide, exploring distant lands and seeking his fortune wherever he went. He faced many trials and tribulations along the way, but with his quick wit and cunning mind, he always managed to find a way forward. But despite his newfound independence, Pinko never forgot about his father back home. He often found himself reminiscing about their time together, longing for the warmth of his father's embrace and the familiar sound of his laughter. And so, after 3 years of adventure and excitement, Pinko decided it was time to return home and reunite with his father. With a heart full of anticipation, he set out on the long journey back to their village, eager to see the familiar sights and faces he had missed so dearly. As Pinko approached the village, his heart swelled with emotion at the thought of seeing his father again. He quickened his pace, eager to reach their humble cottage and wrap his arms around the man who had raised him with love and kindness. And finally, after what felt like an eternity, Pinko arrived at their doorstep, his heart pounding with excitement. He pushed open the door and stepped inside, his eyes scanning the room for a glimpse of his father. But to Pinko's surprise, the cottage was empty, devoid of the warmth and laughter that had once filled its walls. His heart sank with disappointment as he realized that his father was nowhere to be found. Frantically, Pinko searched the village, asking anyone who would listen if they had seen his father. But no matter where he looked, there was no sign of the man who had raised him with such care and devotion. Desperate and despondent, Pinko sank to his knees, tears streaming down his cheeks as he grappled with the crushing weight of his loneliness. He felt lost and alone, adrift in a sea of uncertainty with no one to guide him. But just when Pinko thought all hope was lost, a familiar voice called out to him from the shadows. He looked up to see his father standing before him, his face lit up with joy and relief. With tears of joy streaming down his face, Pinko leapt into his father's arms, clinging to him tightly as if afraid he might disappear again. And in that moment, as father and son embraced, the world seemed to stand still, their bond stronger than ever before. Together, they returned to their humble cottage, their hearts full of gratitude and love for each other. And as they settled back into their simple life, Pinko knew that no matter where his adventures took him, he would always have his father by his side, his rock, his anchor, and his greatest treasure of all. In a quaint village nestled amidst verdant fields and towering trees, there lived a woodcutter and his beloved wife. Their cottage, adorned with ivy and flowers, stood as a testament to their enduring love and unwavering devotion to each other. The woodcutter, with his calloused hands and kind eyes, toiled tirelessly each day, chopping wood in the forest to provide for his wife and their humble home. And his wife, with her gentle smile and warm heart, tended to their small garden and tended to their needs with love and care. Despite their modest means, the woodcutter and his wife lived a life filled with happiness and contentment. They found joy in the simple pleasures of life, the sound of birdsong in the morning, the scent of wildflowers in bloom, and the warmth of each other's embrace. As the seasons passed, their love only grew stronger, binding them together in an unbreakable bond that weathered the trials of time. They shared their dreams and aspirations, their hopes and fears, knowing that as long as they had each other, they could overcome any obstacle that came their way. And so, as the years went by, the woodcutter and his wife lived out their days in peace and harmony, surrounded by the beauty of nature and the love of their community. They cherished each moment together, savoring the simple joys of life and counting their blessings with grateful hearts. Their love story was one of resilience and perseverance, of love that conquered all obstacles and stood the test of time. And as they walked hand in hand into the sunset, their hearts overflowing with love and gratitude, they knew that they were truly blessed to have found each other, and that their love would endure for all eternity. For in the end, it was not wealth or fame that brought them happiness, but the love they shared, a love that would live on in their hearts forevermore, lighting the way for generations to come. And so, the woodcutter and his wife lived happily ever after, their love shining like a beacon of hope in a world filled with darkness.